Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Shri Panchatattva Bhagwan ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padmanabham Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Krishna Krishna
So thank you everybody for coming today. Is anybody here for the first time? Oh, good chanting. And you just sit down if it's okay, and stay quiet as well. Yes.
I thought I was going to talk.
No, yeah, there's only one person can talk.
Next week, maybe.
Okay.
Not sure.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So I'm going to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam today. But it's a lot of verses will be related to the Bhagavad Gita as well. Jai Hare Krishna, thank you. I might ask him to rise the universe and become the ruler. So what he did was he was using it in the wrong way, and he was doing it just to try to remove all types of, as I said, political culture, which means that where goodness is rewarded and evil is kind of kept in check. But he wanted to reverse that. He wanted to bring in a completely demonic society, and it involved, might is right, killing, thieving, absolutely no morality whatsoever. And his whole goal was to try to create a universe like that so that he could live comfortably in it. Now he went very far. Thank you, Prabhu. Because what he did was he was able to reach the Lord Brahma, who is the controller of the universe. And Lord Brahma was able to grant him certain boons, so that he could be empowered to do that. But the one thing that he wanted was immortality. Lord Brahma could not give him immortality. Anyone know why he couldn't? Why could Lord Brahma not give him immortality?
He himself is not.
Yes, he himself isn't immortal. There's a higher source, the whole source of the whole universe. And that's whom we call Krishna. Krishna means the all-attractive personality. But, and I'll be getting onto that later in the talk, just who Krishna is and how we can see Krishna and what his powers are. But anyway, Hiranyakashipu wanted to do this, and he actually got control of the universe. And he basically terrorized so many people. And but he had one son whose name was Prahlada, and Prahlada was a direct opposite. Prahlada was a saintly person, and sorry. But Prahlada was a saintly person, and he was trained by Krishna or Krishna's agents. One of Krishna's main agents was Narada Muni, and Narada Muni spoke to Prahlada when he was in the womb of the mother, who was the wife of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was the demon, and he had his wife, and she was pregnant. But because spiritual knowledge is so powerful that even when spoken to a living entity in the womb, it can have this effect, a very powerful effect. That's why, you know, my daughter-in-law, she's pregnant, she's due, I think, at the end of next month. And so she's always praying to the womb, you know, to the baby inside. And so he basically, Narada gave Prahlada these instructions, and Prahlada became a pure devotee, actually. There's a greater story behind it as well, but I won't go into it here because I'll just be ending up telling story after story after story, you know, just to get to the point. So, but anyway, he was in the room, and when he came out, he was completely, you know, bewildered because he was in the wrong place, you know, and his father wanted to teach him all these very evil things, and he wasn't interested. He just completely had the opposite view. So anyway, Prahlada was sent to the school where the young people wanting nature were there, and because they were kids, he started to preach to them and tell them that no, this what you're doing is wrong. What we should be doing is living a very exemplary life, a saintly life, and so this is some of the instructions that Prahlada is giving to his classmates. He's giving to his classmates, you know, he's telling them, and it's very interesting because these are all incredible aspects about God, because Hiranyakashipu doesn't want God, because God interferes with his activities. But God's a kind of a little bit more clever, because Hiranyakashipu is coming from God anyway. But that also there's another backstory to that too. But so he's about to tell all his friends about the nature of God. So this is where we are in this particular section of the Bhagavatam. So if you can listen as carefully as possible, I won't read the Sanskrit because it's quite long. But these are all descriptions of who God is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller, who is infallible, that's one word, and indefatigable, in other words, he never gets tired, is present in different forms of life. Okay, he's in different forms of life. From the inert living beings, can anyone tell me, that's non-moving living beings. What is an example of non-moving living beings? Trees, plants, you know, all the living entities in bodies which they can't move, basically. So he is there. It says he is present in different forms of life, from the inert living beings, such as plants, to Brahma, the foremost created living being, as the control of the universe, which I mentioned. He is also present in the varieties of material creations and in the material elements. Can anyone tell me any of the material elements? It's a chemistry course today.
Copper, aluminium.
Yes, copper, aluminium, all these different, the whole periodic table. I don't know many elements.
Periodic table.
Yeah. And the total material energy and the modes of material nature, Sattva Guna, Rajaguna, and Tamaguna. That's also a class in itself. As well as the unmanifested material nature and the false ego. So, what is an unmanifested nature? Incredible, isn't it? I mean, the fact that there is even an unmanifested nature, most people don't even think of, you know. But there are, you could even say, I won't say this is exactly corresponding with it, but there are many, many different planetary systems that we don't know anything about, but they are spoken about in the scriptures, you know. And there are many, many activities that go on in those planets, which are a much higher resonance that goes on here. So the Bhagavatam explains a lot of these things. And the false ego. Now, what is the false ego? Does anyone tell me what the false ego is? I am. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, your name.
Your body.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Darren as well.
Like you're separate from everyone now.
Mm. Yeah. The person that's separate.
Yeah, you're separate from
Yeah.
everyone. God, the ego.
Yeah.
Edge God was what land.
And he's going to tell us something.
It's all me.
That's pretty good, yeah. I, me, mine. I, me, mine. That's the false ego.
Mine.
Yeah. So, in that sense, I did an exercise here before. If everybody closes their eyes and then they kind of just meditate on the breath, when they're breathing, the air's coming into the lungs, and we all have a sets of lungs, but those lungs, they're not Irish lungs, they're not Indian lungs, they're not American lungs. They don't have any identification. They're just coming from the earth in that sense. So there's no designation there. So it's likewise with our whole bodies, for instance. But even more subtle than that is our minds. Our minds aren't Irish minds, English minds. They may have certain cultural differences, but ultimately they're irrelevant, and they're definitely irrelevant when we leave our bodies. But there's also a sense of I, a sense of I am, and that, as Keith was saying, can be a false sense, but there's also a real sense, which is a spiritual sense, and that is that we're the soul, which is separate from all of this. So Krishna is also present in every one of us, but he's also present in the us who thinks that he's separate from God. And that's maybe a big one to swallow, but that's what the false ego is. It's an actual physical element. It's a subtle but physical element. The mind, the intelligence, and the false ego. They're covering the soul. And in fact, when one leaves the body, it's those elements which bring the soul to the next body, which is quite interesting, isn't it? The false sense of I. So basically our goal in this life is to dissolve the false ego and just have the real ego, to who we actually are. Darn. The real ego.
Okay.
Yeah, the real ego.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real ego, the soul, though?
Is the soul, yeah. And the scripture gives us very good in this description of who that soul is, because even if we, stop for millions of years and try to find out who that soul is just by ourselves, we'll never be able to do it. And the great example of that is that there's one great example of somebody who tried to do that and didn't succeed. Can anyone know who that person is? Who tried to delve into themselves and find out who they were. No, well, yeah, but it's no, not Buddha, but yeah, Buddha did try to do that also. Yeah. It is Lord Brahma, the very first person in the universe. When he came originally, he wanted to know who he was, and so what did he do? He dived into the stem coming out of the lotus of Garbhadaksha Vishnu, and so he wasn't able to do it, and he was the first person in the universe. He's like, so we're not going to be able to do it. So therefore, we take information from the reliable sources, which is the scripture of who we actually are, which is the soul, and the soul is the servant of God. So that's just that's explaining who the soul is, and the point is that that Krishna or God is also there accompanying the soul, especially in the material world. And where does God reside? In the heart. He resides in the heart of everybody. That's why our heart pumps, that's the whole circulation, all the whole life source is coming from there, from the heart, goes through the whole body. So the super soul. But the thing is that whereas we're of what's in our soul, in our body, we're feeling. But the super soul can, because he's in every living entity, and that shows you the power, the extendedness of Krishna, and that's what I want to kind of get at today. That Krishna is everywhere. Does everybody understand that so far? Krishna is in every atom. He's in, even beyond every atom. He's even in that false sense of I, but he's in the real sense of I as well. So Krishna is all pervading, and that's what this verse is saying. This is what Prahlada is teaching the demonic student. Although he is one, he is present everywhere. And he is also the transcendental super soul, the cause of all causes, who is present as the observer in the cores of the hearts of all living entities. He is indicated as that which is pervaded and as the all-pervading supersoul, but actually he cannot be indicated. Boy, that's quite complex. I'm not going to ask a question on that. He is the he's changeless and undivided. He is simply perceived as the supreme Satchidananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss, and being covered by the curtain of the external energy. To the atheist, he appears non-existent. So, that's quite incredible, isn't it? I mean, why is it that some people say, I believe in God, yeah, God, I can see God, and other people, no, there's no such thing as God. What would you say today? Is the world spiritually inclined towards God, or do you think it's atheistic in general? What would your guess be?
I think those people don't
Atheist.
practice.
Yeah.
And they believe, but they don't practice.
Mm. They don't practice,
And I think as you get older,
yeah.
as a young person gets older, he probably gets a bit more worried that there isn't a God, that there isn't a heaven, that there isn't a hell.
Yeah.
And then he kind of panics, and it's a last minute thing, and suddenly he gets God, or he gets Jehovah, or he gets Hare Krishna.
Yeah. No, that's a reasonable assessment, but yeah. But yeah, as Anurad says, yeah, it's predominantly atheistic basically, and the whole education system is pretty much predominantly atheistic as well. It's even when I was going to school, I was taught by religious people, but they didn't believe in the Bible, for instance, but they believed in science basically. They thought that science was the answer, and they subjugated all their beliefs to the scientific inverted commas truths, which was a complete. I would say it was. They threw everything out there, but because the Bhagavatam it's a scientific understanding of who God is, so it's not necessarily just a situation of belief. It's a science in which we can actually learn to see God everywhere, but we have to develop the eyes to see. We have to be trained to see. It says in Bhagavad Gita that those whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. It's available to everybody, but it's that some people are choosing to, and some people choose not to. It's because that's what free will is about. So, as devotees here, what Prahlada is trying to do is he's trying to train people to be able to see, and in one sense we're in that same league now ourselves, because we're in the atheistic sector and we have all our friends and whatever, and all very people and so on, the majority, and it's very special when you can actually explain and share spirituality. And again, it can cut across different religious systems. You don't have to say, oh, because you're not religion, I don't believe, or whatever. No, it's science, spiritual science, to understand, and that's what Bhagavatam is presenting. It's a very, very unique kind of presentation, from my studies anyway, whereby you are able to recognize the nature of the spirit, and how it's described very systematically in the Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita initially, but then in Bhagavatam then. Bhagavatam is like an extensive version. It takes up where the Bhagavad Gita left off. So I thought I would just read a little bit what Srila Prabhupada says about it, because Srila Prabhupada is a very special person in line. He came, he left this world in 1970, but he brought the Krishna consciousness right across the world. He was able to go through different continents and different religious systems and still make people completely believers of God. So I'm going to read the purport now with what Prabhupada is saying. Not only is the Supreme Personality of Godhead present as the super soul of all living entities, at the same time he pervades everything in the entire creation. He exists in all circumstances and at all times. He exists in the heart of Lord Brahma, and also in the core of the hearts of hogs, dogs, trees, plants, and so on. He is present everywhere. He is present not only in the heart of the living entity, but also in material things, even in atoms, protons, electrons being explored by material scientists. So this is a way in which we can see God everywhere. He's in all these things. So go on. The Lord is present in three features, and this is a little complex, and I might not dwell on this, as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He is present everywhere. He is described as Sarva Kalavidam Brahman. Vishnu exists beyond Brahman, and Bhagavad Gita confirms that by his Brahman feature it is all-pervading. Maya Tatamidam Sarvam. But Brahman depends upon Krishna, Brahmanam Hudpatishthaham. Without Krishna, there could be no existence of Brahman or Paramatma. Therefore, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the ultimate realization of the Absolute Truth. So basically what we're saying here is that there is a supreme source of all of this. We can see the material elements everywhere around us. That's visible to us. We don't have to be an atheist or not an atheist to see all those things. They're there in front of us. We can hear, and then we can hear the study of the microscopes telling us about the protons, neutrons, and whatever, all those different things as well. So they're there. We can understand them. But what's saying that Krishna is in all of that. He's all pervading that, all of that energy. But also he exists separately as a personality. And this is only a part of his energy. You understand that? It's not, he's there, but he's not there. It's like his deputies. I mean, there's different examples Prabhupada uses of how to explain that, but I think, one example he uses is that a person who runs a company, just say a person owns Tesco's or Primark next door to us, not too far away. So just say there's one person who owns Primark. I know that it's a multi-chain or whatever, but there's probably a few people on top. But anyway, just say one person owns it. And so everything that goes on there ultimately comes back to him. But he's not in every department. He's represented by different people who do this, doing the selling, doing the buying, So even though he's present everywhere, but still, it's all going on, but by his energy, shall we say. So in that sense, that's one example Prabhupada gives about that. So there is a source of all of these things that are going on. That's the main basis of what we're saying. And that source is called the Bhagavan, the Supreme. And we can get to know that Bhagavan very personally. We can get to know that Bhagavan by studying the nature of everything, of all these things around. We can actually see Krishna in all of these things. And that's kind of what's called, it's a superior vision. And it's not saying that we're superior, but we are granted that vision to see things like that, to see God everywhere. Sometimes you have poets like Wordsworth, those guys, they talk about the pantheists, they would see God in many things, But the descriptions of God and God's, is very much brought out more accurately or more understandably in the Vedic scripture of who that person is. And we get our personality because that person is a person. We have personality because there is an original personality. And he's sharing personality with us, but he's different from us at the same time. Does everyone get that? It's like, do you get that? Yeah. Because it's sometimes people confuse it. Sometimes people think that we are the energy and we're going to merge into energy at the end. And that's a kind of a lower vision. You can try that, but it's not a final vision. But the final vision is when you see the supreme source of everything and that we're related to that supreme source. And we have personality because that person has personality. And then, because there's the greatest personality and there's us, what is the link between us and that great personality? What would you say? What is that link between ourselves and the Supreme?
So,
Bhakti, yeah.
So,
But we are the soul, so the soul has this relation with the Supreme Soul. So it's bhakti, or relationship, And what the highest relationship is love. But it's expressed differently. It's expressed through servant. We're the servant. So that's what a lot of people sometimes find a difficulty with that. Wait a minute, I'm a servant. Well, what's this? I don't know. I don't want to be a servant. You know, I'm the boss here. But that's where the problems happen, because we're not the boss actually, because it's our constitutional position as the servant of the servant of the servant. In fact, that's a real way in which humanity should be interrelating each other. We should be serving each other, you know. And I think actually there's a word from Christ. He would say, "Your love for me will be shown by how much you cooperate," or something. He said. Well, the prophet said that as well. But you know, you'll be recognized by how much you love each other. You know, that was one of the things he said. So this is there. Yeah, this is a science as well. But in order to get to the base of that science, we have to develop humility. You know, it's a prayer that we say every day. One should chant the holy name in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. Thinking oneself lower. One should be devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects unto others. In such a state of mind, we could chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. It's in the I, me, mine society that doesn't work. You know, you get trampled upon. But in the spiritual society, that is the most important currency. That's how we relate with each other, and how we relate with God as well. So this is why this is a revolutionary science. And generally spiritual people who take up this revolution, they often get destroyed, or they get apparently destroyed. You know, they get attacked because they're saying something. Plato, Christ, Haridas Thakur, you know, they get destroyed because they're trying to go against the grain, and they're trying to say things. But the society, though, can be strong if people can practice this whole sense of humility and loving exchange, and understanding. It's like, as I said, it's a science. You know, you develop this science in your heart or in your soul of how to relate with the Supreme Soul. So and that's where love comes from. It's the love between the soul and the Supreme Soul, because the Supreme Soul is providing all the energy for the soul to exist. And that's what the Bhagavad Gita explains all in the second chapter. And it's just like he's supplying even the air that we're breathing. You know, we can't stop our heart. Our heart is working at the moment. Our blood cells are going. We're not controlling that. You know, our digestion is working. You know, these things are all going on, but we don't know how that's happening. You know, it's just going on. And but that's the existence of the Supreme, and that's how he's supplying us all of those things. So he's also supplying us this life force, which is the soul, and we are eternal as well. You know, we there's never, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that never was there a time when I did not exist. This is what he's telling Arjuna. Nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us ever cease to be. So that's who we are. We're eternal living entities, and in this life, we're meant to realize that particular fact, and by humility and by learning how to serve Krishna in a proper way, and serve God in a proper way, we can provide that hugely powerful, you know, source, which is more powerful than millions of suns. The soul is that powerful, actually, you know, because even when this whole universal system, this whole universe is destroyed at the end of the day of Lord Brahma and recreated again, that soul is not destroyed. You know, all the other things can be destroyed, but the soul can't be. So the soul is its actual position is in the spiritual world, in the world of the souls. It's out of water here. It's like a fish out of water. We're not really meant to be here in this world. but this is the point, you know. We're actually not meant to be. This isn't our home, you know. We often try to make this our home, you know. I was find this kind of an interesting example recently. There was I saw this really incredible palatial home. I was visiting a person nearby there. I saw this incredible palatial home, you know, and wow, you should have seen it. It was like a palace, you know. I was thinking, and anybody who would look at that place, they would think that, oh, whoever's got that is a lucky person. I would love to have that, you know. That's just what I want. But then the person who I was talking to told me about the person who lived in that place, and he was in total mental anxiety, huge anxiety, you know. And he gave me all the details, one after the other. You know, he's the type of person he was. You know, I mean, he was being generous as well, but at the same time, he said, you know, and I was just kind of putting the two together. You know, we're being sold. In one sense, we're being sold a pump. That's an Irish phrase. You're sold a pump. You know, it's like we're trained to think that if we have a good job, we're well educated, we will be happy in this world. And everybody is striving for that. There's practically nobody that's striving for that. When Srila Prabhupada came to the West, you know, he was very surprised because he saw that all of these people, they're coming from such wealthy backgrounds, you know. They have these skyscrapers, they have this and this and this. Yet all their children, they don't want to have to do it because they've seen all the anxiety that the parents were in to try to create it. So the children just got completely disillusioned. They didn't want it. They wanted something else. Now they were looking for it in the wrong place, but they were still looking for it, and they realized it wasn't where they wanted to. So that he introduced this science of Krishna consciousness, and so many people who previously wouldn't have taken anything to do with the Vedic or the Brahminical society, or whatever, they all took it up and actually started to practice, even in a lot of occasions better than the people from where where the philosophy is most at home. But obviously, subsequently, it's been practiced very strongly now. You can see that, and you know, you get to hear more and more. But you know, it's a mistake to think that the material world can bring to bring happiness, and the world is set up in such a way that to get even the basic things in life, I was talking about my son and daughter-in-law, everything, they have to work so hard just to get their house. It's just a house over their head, you know. Both of them were working, get the deposit in the bank, was no. And the person who was selling the house, no, higher. You know, it's kind of that's what's kind of like the rat race. Whereas simple living is completely not available practically these days, you know. And so we're in a difficult position because if we're trying to practice spiritual life, whereas these demands are pulling us, you know, in all sorts of directions, very, very, very seriously. And so there's going to have to be a kind of a correction in society. Srila Prabhupada, he wanted that correction to be that people started to take spiritual life seriously, even here in material situations. And so that's why we kind of get here on Sunday and try to talk about these spiritual subject matters, because we have to make a difference in the earth at the moment, because if there's not enough spiritual people around, it's just going to be the Hiranyakashipu, you know, I, me, mine, I want more. It's very interesting. There was once this very famous, very, very wealthy billionaire from the 1920s or 30s. He was given an interview, and it's funny, it was just the day before he died. He didn't know he was going to be dead the next day. But he was asked, what is the most important thing for you could you let us know, what's your secret, in other words? And he said, I can tell you in one word. Anyone guess what that word was? More. Yes, more. He wanted more. He was a billionaire and he wanted more. You know? So that's the material world. It's difficult, you know, we got all these ads and we have these desires as well. They've been cultivated in us, you know. I want this and I want that and I want this. I remember when I was a kid, I had a list of 20 things I wanted. You know? And it was fishing rod, it was this, you know, so many different things I wanted. You know. And it's and that's what's cultivated as well. You know, that's what the materialistic society does. It cultivates. It gets us to want more and more. And you know, when this next government is elected,
I'm wondering who.
When the next government is elected, they're going to be promising more, and they're obliged, because if they don't give more, they'll be out. But even above the governments, the governments these days are kind of like, you know, they're talk pieces in one sense for the bigger governments, which are the multinationals or whatever it is, or who's ever in power, I don't know. They're dictating. They want more. You know, you have mergers between the billionaires, and they're merging with these other billionaires, and the normal guys down the street, they're just wiped out. You know, the middle class. Somebody who just wants to have their own business, for instance. You know, in Ireland it's still there, but it'll be wiped out fairly soon, because it just can't compete. There was a health food store I used to go to recently, but it's closed down because another chain has moved up instead, and they're selling everything. They have a variety of 10 things instead of 2 things that you could buy with the local guy. You know, so it's all heading in that direction, and we're actually being brought along with it as well. So this is the kind of this is why it's important for us to understand the science of God, because you know God has created whatever in a perfect way, and mankind has messed up things in its own particular way, you know, and made it very difficult for all of us to live here on this planet. And this story goes back literally tens of thousands of years, you know. Hiranyakashipu is a story from another planetary system, actually. It's that old, but it's the same thing. There's always this competition between the demonic, the devas, people who are trying to follow the spiritual energy, and the people who want to enjoy the material energy. So, anyway, I'll just stop for a second there. Does anyone have any comments, any questions? Anyone would like to ask anything for what we've spoken so far? Or I can continue a little bit more. I'm conscious as well not to end too early because the restaurant is still open. We're having a shadow down there afterwards. So, or is there any other questions on any other subject matter that, you know, in spiritual energy dimension? Here.
Hi, Krishnaji. You just informed that about servant, we being the servant of God. So I heard in a lecture that someone might think, oh, why am I being called a servant? It sounds inferior.
Yeah.
So I heard in a lecture that we are confusing servant with a slave.
Yeah.
Because slavery is forced, whereas servant or service is voluntary. Like mother is serving his child, we are serving the society.
Yes. Say that again. This is a good line to remember.
So I heard in a recent lecture that we are confusing servant with a slave. So when we hear that you are a servant of God from the scriptures, we get, oh, this is so inferior and the scriptures are bad. But we are confusing servant or service with slavery. So slavery or slave is forced. If he does not do, he is beaten, which we see in the history. Whereas service is voluntary.
Service is voluntary.
Mother serves his child, then people serve the society, which we call it as philanthropy.
Yeah.
So this is all service which we do to the society, mankind, family. We are serving the family. So service is voluntary, and the emotion behind service is love. So this is what we say, that we have a loving relationship with God.
Wow. Well, thank you. Yeah. And I'm thinking that the next part of where we're just going to read a little bit more, and it's going to highlight that point actually. It's very, very, very interesting because this is the second theme of the class, which we're getting into. It says, although he is present as the Paramatma in the core of everyone's heart, just get that God is living in our heart. Can you imagine? Wow. He is nonetheless one, and so he's one, even though we're either as an individual or as the all-pervading Brahman. So Krishna is in each and all of our hearts, but he's still one person. The Supreme Cause is Krishna, and devotees who surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead can realize him and his presence within the universe and within the atom. Now, I'm going to read that line again because this is a crunch. The Supreme Cause is Krishna, and devotees who have, this is the word, surrendered, this is even worse than surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can realize him and his presence within the universe and within the atom. Damodarashtakam Paramanu chanting. What's that from? Anyone know? What scripture is that from? Damodarashtakam Paramanu chanting. It's from the Brahma Samhita, exactly. Yes. So I'm talking about here. I mean, scientists, for instance, a lot of them are atheistic, and a lot of them aren't. But so the ones that generally who are more in control are the ones who say that it's all just happening by chance and it's coming from chemicals, isn't it? This world was created by the chemicals just coming together, and somehow or other the world came from it. Ultimately, that's what they're saying, And so they can't see God in every atom. So it's expected that the Supreme Krishna and devotees who have surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead can realize him and his presence within the universe and within the atom. So if we want to see God everywhere, we have to surrender to God. That's the condition, And those who don't, it's said, then they're atheistic. If they don't surrender to God and they base it on their own kind of ability to try to work things out, they're going to be atheistic because they don't have superior knowledge. They don't have knowledge coming from their source. So again, is everybody listening? This realization is possible only for devotees who have fully surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord. So if this information is for devotees, if this information is available for those as possible, hands up everyone who wants to be a devotee or who is a devotee. Do you want to surrender then? There is a price to pay. The price to pay is to surrender. And it's because this realization is possible only if you understand your position in the world. And then Prabhupada, this is why I want to get into this when we'll get into the Bhagavad Gita now. It says that this is confirmed by the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Anybody know 7.14? Yeah. Okay, I'll read it out. Daivi yesha gunamai mama maya jaratya mameva ye prabhatante mayametam tarantite. So, did somebody give me the Bhagavad Gita? Don't know how to.
Bhagavad Gita, you mean?
The Bhagavad Gita. One of the main points in the Bhagavad Gita over and over and over again is the word surrender. To surrender to God. Again, it's one of these words that we think, oh my God, surrender means you're defeated. But what's defeated is the false ego is defeated. The real ego is not defeated. The real ego is victorious when you surrender. Darren. Say again? Wayne Dyer.
He's a spiritual being, he's dead, you know. I would say he was enlightened, but he said you can either be a host of God or a slave to your ego, the choice is yours.
Woo! That's good. A host to God.
You can either be a host of God or a slave to your ego, the
Yeah.
choice is yours.
Wow, that's really good. Yeah, that's spot on. Yeah, and this verse is very interesting, the 7:14, because it really talks about the consequences of that. Because it says that, and there's a few significant places in the Bhagavad Gita, which is the main text for us, Bhagavad Gita. So, if anyone here, by the way, I'll be distributing Bhagavad Gitas at the end of this class as well. You know, but this is in the 7th chapter, verse 14. Remember that 7:14. It's an easy number to remember. And I'll read it. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. You know, we'll never get out of this place. But those who surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So, surrender means that we can easily get out of this world of birth and death. Easily. It's very, very. It means that at the point of death, yam yam vapismaram bhavam, chajati antikalevam, whatever you're thinking of at the point of death, that's where you're going to go without fail, Krishna says. So, what we're thinking of at the point of death is made up of what we've been thinking about during our whole life. You know, we're not going to think of God at the end if we've been thinking about the elections in America, or you know, who won this, or you know, or the football match, or the cricket match, or whatever. You know. Okay, there's some time for recreation. I don't say the politics. Anyway, there's some time for recreation, all right. You know, we're not robots, but the amount of time that one has spent on several of these topics, even on the whole economics, you know, the economic forums, and you know, people are spending their whole lives trying to make an extra buck. You know, they spend, all of us are. There was one time that it was compared recently that we're no different than animals. What we're doing all day is we're just, where is money, where's money, where's money, where's money, where's money, where's money. And the animals, where's the grass, where's the grass, where's the grass, you know. But we're not, there's no difference. It's just a different subject that we're after, but it's the same activity. So we can't waste our lives as animals when we've got higher consciousness in the human form. So we've got to be actually asking, where is God, where is God, where is God? And that's when we go further into the story of Prahlada, that I've talked about, that the young boy that was in the room of his mother, and that's right there. When we see he's constantly seeing, where is God, where is God? Because he was told about him in the womb. And Maharaj Parikshit, which the whole Bhagavatam was about, he learned about Krishna. He's seen God. That's what Parikshit means. He's seen God at the start of the womb, because God protected him from the Brahmastra, which is a nuclear weapon which was being flown into by a demoniac person to wipe out the whole goodness in this world. You know, that's what the demonic mentality is doing, and that's what this world is. The whole Mahabharata is about that, the demonic, you know, nature, Hiranyakashipu, all this. So this is a serious fight, you know. It is an actual fight that's going on, you know. And we have to be certainly revolutionaries, in a sense, to go against the grain, because the grain is very much weighed more so towards the demonic side than it is the divine side at the moment. But it's possible nowadays, and this is why I'm giving this class, is because the place where we can find the divine is very simple. It's everywhere. It's right among us. We just have to develop the eyes to see the divine. And in this age, it's not a question of necessarily. It's not a question of taking up arms. It's a question of spreading knowledge. That's where the emphasis is in every one of us in that sense. One of the primary ways that we do it is by chanting Hare Krishna. You know, for both on japa, you know, and in kirtan, you know, congregationally. The primary ways that we do that is that we see God, because God is in the holy name. He's not different. And the other way is in the scripture, and also by worship. You know, these are different ways that are there for us. So this is the knowledge that we're trying to spread. But I tell you, this is the knowledge which will help the whole planet, because we'll understand that. It's funny, the whole economic problem we solve one text, not even one text, but one line from one of the Upanishads. Do you know that? The Ishupanishad is one of the Upanishads. Ishivashamidam sarvam. I don't know the full line of it now in Sanskrit, but I can paraphrase it. This means that everyone should only take whatever they need. You know, you don't need more.
Amen.
You know, just take whatever is needed, what you actually need. And why? Because everything else belongs to God. It's not ours. It doesn't belong to the government. It doesn't belong to this or this person or that person or that. It all ultimately belongs to God. But people just claim stakes over it. This is ours. This, you know, as in America, there's art, there's temples, and people buy the space above a building. You know, buying the space. You know, there's actually a market for buying space. You know.
Yeah.
So you can't build because no, I own that space. You know, crazy. You know. So, Ishivashivadam Sarvam. We don't need very much. We really don't need very much. We think we need very much. We're indoctrinated in thinking we need way more than what we need. But if we surrender unto Krishna, Krishna will provide everything. And that's what Prahlada Maharaj did here as well. He just surrendered to Krishna. Krishna protected him, gave him everything that he needed. Not necessarily what he wanted, or what we wanted, should I say. He was different. But
What he thought he was.
well, he was okay, what we think we want. You know. So Krishna will provide that for us as well. You know, no problem. I don't want to go on too long, but that's one instance of surrender. Krishna is difficult to overcome, which is the material energy. But one who surrenders can cross beyond that. Okay, there's another, just at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about surrender. Does anyone know what that is? Yeah, Krishna actually protects you. That's the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes I ask people, have you read Bhagavad Gita? And say, oh yes. So what's the goal of Bhagavad Gita? And no one ever gives me the right answer. You know, in the sense of the answer as what Krishna gives. You know, and that is that we surrender unto Krishna, and He will protect us from all sinful reaction. You know, in other words, all the karma that we're due to get, He just wipes it out. He wipes it out. There's no more karma. This is your last life. He will take that away if we actually learn how to surrender. So it's an important thing to learn. But believe me, it's more real than this here. The karma that we're accruing and we have accrued for many lifetimes is playing out. You know, it's going on. Even as we're sitting here. But actually, as we're sitting here, we're not accruing karma, by the way. When we're hearing Bhagavatam, not only are we that, we're dissolving all the karma that we've had. These are the ways, and these are kind of scientific ways to dissolve karma. There's no university telling us about that. They're telling us how to be neutral, whatever, physics, this, that, the other, whatever. So many different branches of knowledge, which are all useful in their own right, but they're not ultimate knowledge, which is telling us how not to have any more karma. That's what you get in this is a science, a spiritual science. So it's not just a question of belief. It's a question of, and this is why I'm saying that this surrender is very important, because this whole world has got faithlessness. We can be knocked off our faith very easily, even from minute to minute. You know, even me giving this class here at the moment, I'm kind of fired up thinking about spiritual life, but suddenly a thought might come to me and it'll just knock me. I get on. Oh no! Wait a minute! Is there something wrong here? You know, your faith is like that. We have to become very strong, because if we can make an impact in society, we have to become superheroes, you know, real spiritual superheroes is what the world needs. And do you know what? You actually can do it. You become a superhero even with your beat back, even by praying to God. You know, you can develop that connection. But from my experience is that different people have different tendencies, but hearing the signs is like, it gives you huge faith. You know, it actually gives you great strength that you can withstand any attacks from matter, from material energy. Material energy is put there by Krishna as a test as well, but it's also put there by people like Hiranyakashipu who want everybody to, they want to control everybody and make them into consuming people. In other words, to convince people that by enjoying matter separate from God, you will be happy. But unfortunately, that's the big lie, you know, because we can't. Okay, I'm nearly talked out of it here. Is anybody any comments? Anyone want to say anything? Darren.
Just two questions on this. So consequently, if you do not surrender, you don't surrender to Krishna, and for people who are atheists, what are the consequences for people, even if they're not, say, living a simple life, but they're atheists?
Yeah.
For people who are just going about their day to day, even if they're not living a simple life.
Yeah, previously, I know in Ireland, the generation I grew up in, most people believed in God at that time, you know. And their day to day, I remember living with my aunt at one age, you know, she was always thinking about God, you know, even in her day to day. So nowadays, the normal person's day to day is that they're thinking there's not God, you know, they don't even think about God. It doesn't exist. Spiritual life means Halloween. You know, walking down, you know, I was walking on my avenue today, and I saw this ghost, that ghost, and you know, they're glorifying this big, you know, spiritual, you know, and it's all scary. It's like ghosts, you know. Somebody's going to scare you to death, you know. I mean, that's what's become. There's no kind of almost spirituality, but because there's a thirst for spirituality there, but it's completely directed that way, you know. So your normal person, this is why these great saints and sages come and try to make a difference in society, is because they're trying to create a spiritual system for people. They're trying to set that up so that the normal people that can actually be surrounded by proper spiritual life. So. And those people actually, the funny thing about them is that most of those people, even in Ireland, was quite a poor country in comparison to the rest of Europe, and the people were much happier. They were genuinely much happier. There was problems like as in most societies were, but they were more satisfied in what they had, you know, and they seemed happier. But that's just my observation. I might be wrong, but that's like, there's a lot more community. Yeah, family, all of those things. They were there. I mean, I'm not saying it was heaven, because it had its own problems as well. But it seemed to be, you know, like for any time we had parties in our houses, the neighbours would come in, whatever. These days I don't even know who's next door, further down the road or whatever. But anyway, that's maybe getting off the track a bit. But the normal person that you're talking about, how are they going to be affected? It's called collective karma. They'll be brought along by the collective scenario that's going on in the world, and they will be affected by that. You know, so that's why I'm saying that governments are saying more. That's the religion is economic development. Actually, the real religion is money. You know. The whole thing is based around money. That's it. It's full stop. Money is the end product, basically. Obviously, some people don't adhere to that, but in general, the society is based on that. Right? So it's not bright. The future's not necessarily bright. But, any other comments? Would you any comment on so far?
Yeah, just one thing caught me. Was talking about the revolutionary aspect. Thinking of the revolutionists and all that respond to that. You said that share your knowledge, you know.
Yeah.
Just you know, I have zero knowledge. There's no joy, you know. I don't say joy. Is that okay?
Yeah. No. It's that's a symptom of the soul. The soul is happy.
Yeah.
You know, and and there's different levels of, you know, again, there's what makes different people happy is the thing, you know. And as I say, like things that I find the spiritual knowledge is very, very, very important for me anyway. Some people like the joy of cooking for God, or some, you know, worship. There's so many different things. Yeah. But the knowledge I mean is that knowledge of the difference between materialism and spirituality. You know, that because that basic knowledge of material people, as I say, there's not much difference from the animals in the field looking for grass, and energy, as people looking for I want money. There's not much difference.
And yeah, it's just for me the fact that I created a life of joy for myself. Just that name. But when people see that I'm joyful, they ask for it.
Yeah.
I don't have knowledge.
Yeah.
I have joy.
Yeah.
You know, so that's I'm only here this is totally new for me, like, you know.
Yeah.
From different angles, like that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't do like these, you know. You don't do anything.
Yeah.
For me, that's what it's like.
Yeah. That is. And once
I'm only paying here, you know. It's not, I'm only paying here. No, I'm not being too serious now. But when you said share knowledge, I was like, oh, why don't you share knowledge and joy? That was my point. That's my point.
That's a good one.
That's what I'm saying.
They are synonymous.
Yeah, they are synonymous. I'm only paying.
Yeah.
I have to go. Right.
Thanks for coming. Yeah. Good. It's good joining with you the other day as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll see you again on Saturday.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Excellent. Super nice.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Thursday I saw the GP on Proof. Right, I'll be there. Saturday I said. I can help if you like. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for that, everyone. Thanks for doing what you did. And listen, okay.
He's a jewel.
Thank you so much.
He's a jewel.
Thanks so much.
That's it. Okay. Any other comments, questions?
Have you surrendered or had you surrendered?
Boy, I've a long way to go. Just speaking about it though is helpful, you know, because it's kind of like road markings along the way, you know, and sharing it, and it's incredible how people are actually surrendered, and you know they might even not know themselves that they are, you know, and like this incredible service that some people perform, you know. And that's a sign of their surrender, you know. But faith, surrender, those types of things. There was one other verse about in surrender that I wanted to get to there. I just can't remember it. I didn't write it down at the start. So. Thank you for that. That's a good question.
So how do we surrender?
How do we surrender? Yeah, actually, that's also a good question. And those of you who are still able to concentrate, how to surrender, it's very, Prabhu made it very simple. You know. Oh, thank you, sir. Prabhu made it very simple to surrender, and it's not easy for us just to find out how do we surrender in this world, because there's so many distractions. And you might kind of confuse a distraction for a surrender, because we can surrender to a distraction which isn't a surrender. But we can take advice from people who are surrendered. So many things that come up when you ask that question. For instance, there's So getting advice from somebody who's surrendered, and actually somebody who's surrendered to God can actually give you that surrender. That's why it's not something which you can get from knowledge. It's said throughout here, it's from some authority who is actually surrendered. And so it's almost like a goal is to try to find those people. You know, I know as a group here in ISKCON, we definitely try to bring as many people who we feel are surrendered souls, so we can all get their association as often as we can. And but you will often find that the person who may be doing something quite simple in the temple can be the most surrendered person. You know, it's quite amazing that, you know, you expect somebody who's way up there to be surrendered, but then you see somebody who's doing some particular task every day, and they're doing it because they love God, you know, or else they're doing it because they were told, if you do this task, this is very important, this is a very nice task. So ideally, how to surrender is that we have a very powerful scenario here in an organization going on, which is based on humility, pridelessness, love, and their main activity and Prabhu activity was giving Krishna consciousness to others. You know, it's just spreading or just sharing the joy and sharing the knowledge. You know, so there's many ways we can do that. You know, this person came today and Andy was here, and you shared with him, you know, that he so that he could get himself ready to come for the afternoon. You know, you get your Lenten so much and stuff like that. These things are there, you know, which, you know, if the organization is like that, we're there to help people. You know, basically, we're trying to explain that Krishna's everywhere. We can experience Krishna through this chanting, which we're going to have next, which is the next part of the program. And so this joy is the joy will be there. The joy will be there in the chanting. What are you going to do next? I'm going to do it. But we're going to be able to give expression to that, because the kirtan is about, it's called congregational chanting. It's we're chanting to God together, you know, and it's glorification of Krishna. And look what Krishna's doing. He's coming as well, and he wants to share it as well, because he wants to. This is Krishna in his most loving aspect. You know, we can see Krishna in the stars, the moon, whatever. You know, it can be in matter, but when he comes in this way as a, you know, as a joyful, he's a God who dances. You know, this will be where we can experience God in his highest aspects. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhu. So now we can all stand up for the arati.
Hare Krishna. So, thank you, Manu Prabhuji, for your wonderful lecture. We can say 3 times Hari Bol for his wonderful lecture. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So we can move on to our next part of our session, which is the Kaur Arati. So everybody can join us, and we can, afterwards we'll have Damodarashtakam. Hare Krishna.
जय श्री श्री पंचतत्व भगवान की जय। राधा भगवान की जय। गौर प्रेमानंद। शिव जयो जयो गौरचंद्र आरती को शोभा। शिव जयो गौरचंद्र आरती को शोभा। शिव जयो
His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Brahmacharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nandikota Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Vanzikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Davandam ki Jai. Mayapur Dham ki Jai. Jamuna Maya ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dev ki Jai. Ganga Maya ki Jai. Tulsi Devi ki Jai. Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtanya ki Jai. Books Distribution ki Jai. Go all glories to the Self-Lord. All glories to Shri Guru Guru.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We can be seated. We can come inside. Those who are standing there, they can come inside and be seated for Narasimha prayers and Damodarashtakam prayers. And I have few announcements to make. Maybe we can. Hare Krishna. Those who are sitting in front, kindly sit on the sides. We need some space in the middle so that people can come and offer lamps. Hare Krishna, we will be offering lamps. So kindly do not leave without offering lamp because it's Kartik month. We should offer a lamp to Krishna. It's very auspicious. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So can we make some space in the middle so that people can. So on behalf of ISKCON Dublin, I would like to welcome you all for this special Ekadashi Sunday Love Feast program. Ekadashi Maha Mahotsav ki Jai. So today is very auspicious day. Today is Ekadashi, an Ekadashi of Kartik month, Damodar month. Kartik month is the most auspicious month of the year. It is the favorite month for Srimati Radharani. Because of this speciality of this month, whatsoever we do in this month, we get 1,000 times of benefit. And today is Ekadashi, so whatsoever you will do today will give you benefit maybe 10,000 times. So, Hari Bol. So, kindly offer lamp. We will be soon starting after Narsimha prayers. We will be doing offering of lamp. So, it's important to offer a ghee lamp, okay? Ghee lamp to Krishna, especially the Yashoda Damodar Bhagwan. When the Yashoda tried to bind Krishna with wooden mortar, it's a pastime. So, this month is named after Damodar. Dam means rope and Udar means stomach. So when Krishna was bound with a rope on his stomach, so he got a name as Damodar. So that's why this month is also called as Damodar. So I would like to specifically thank for today's sponsorship of Prasad to Archita Mataji. Okay, Archita Mataji is Prabhu's birthday today. Rahul Prabhu's birthday. So we will chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra together and pray to Shri Panchatattva to bless him with his devotional service. Okay, that is the best thing which we can ask for him. Okay, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Also, if anyone would like to sponsor anything in month of Kartik, maybe flowers, flower decorations, and two more opportunities are coming next week. We will not be having Sunday program, but we will be celebrating the festivals of Diwali and Govardhan Puja on Saturday, which is the Govardhan festival. Shri Giriraj Govardhan Maharaj ki Jai! So it's a very special opportunity for all of us to have special darshan of Shri Giriraj Ji. Giriraj Ji will be coming here. Giriraj Shila will be here. And we will be having Abhishek of them. And then we will be offering 56 bhogas to Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Radha Shyam Sundar Ji, Radha Govind Ji and Shri Panchatattva. And there will be special darshans which is a once a year darshan of Annakut, Giriraj Govardhan, which is made from special dishes which will be offered to Krishna with rice, halwa, sweets, cake, jalebi, puri. So many things for Krishna, not for us. We will get as a prasad later. So, if you want to help in any way for that festival, you can contact us. If you want to sponsor towards decoration or flowers, because prasad is already being sponsored. If you want to sponsor anything for decoration or anything, you can contact us as well. So, Sunday we will not be having any program like this, but we will be having lamp offerings in evening as usual. But after 2 days, on 5th of November, we will be celebrating one more very special occasion, which is the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada. Who doesn't know about Srila Prabhupada? Kindly raise their hand. Who doesn't know about Srila Prabhupada? Okay. Can you see this picture here on the wall? He is Srila Prabhupada who established this ISKCON society. Who all feel happy when you see ISKCON temple out of India? So it's because of him only. So it's a very special opportunity for all of us to offer our gratitude and our humble obeisances and services to Srila Prabhupada on his disappearance day. He left this world on that day, like 3-4 days after Govardhan Puja. 14th November 1977, he left this world. But even after he left, but he is with us in his instructions and in his books. So next month, we will be celebrating book distribution as well. So Bhagavad Gita Marathon, Gita Jayanti is coming. So many things are in Krishna consciousness. Every month, you will celebrate more and more and new festivals. So kindly join us. If you are not in our WhatsApp groups, you can join our WhatsApp group by scanning the QR code. Now we will be having Narsimha prayers and then Damodarashtakam. So we all can sit here just for Narasimha prayers, 5 minutes, and then we will read and recite this Damodarashtakams, which is very auspicious. You can take screenshot of that Damodarashtakam and kindly read once a day in this holy month of Kartik. You will really feel blissful if you really read that, recite that, and try offering a ghee lamp every day to Shri Shri Radha Krishna, and if possible Shri Shri Yashoda Damodar. You can just Google Yashoda Damodar picture and you can offer. Okay? Yes. And Manu Prabhu will also be saying a few words for some special announcement.
So I'm very short, but he'll be saying about this Damodarashtakam, very big month, very important month. We're still trying to get another temple outside India, which is outside Dublin, and we have a target of reaching 150,000 by the end of this year. We've 134,000, and so it's about 16,000 to go in the next 9 weeks. So if anybody can help with that, it'd be very, very important, because there's a place that's coming up quite soon, and we're still going to be quite short to get that Lakshmi, to get that place. But this is where we're hoping to build a temple. It's just outside Dublin, County Kildare at the moment. So that's one of the targets that we've got. But we can't get anywhere unless, I was talking earlier about money, but all money belongs to Krishna ultimately. God owns all this money. So we have to transform that money into being something spiritual, not something material, because that's what happens. It becomes materialistically used. But we need to collect something. So from now on, between now and Christmas, we work very hard to try to get that Lakshmi. And in the meantime, also, we're talking about the Bhagavad Gita. We have some, so I'll be selling downstairs. They cost about €5 to print, but whatever is used, half of that money goes towards the temple as well. So you're kind of winning both ways. You're getting Bhagavad Gita and also, helping with the temple. And you can give more if you want, but I'm just saying that's the cost. So that's very special for this Damodar month as well. So I'll be downstairs, so you can just catch me, and I have one of these card machines as well, but it's going directly to Krishna, so it's spiritualized card machine. Hare Krishna.
Oh.
Yes, we will be having prasad after lamp offering and Damodarashtakam in restaurant. Kindly help us to keep the restaurant clean. It's a request to all of you, and we need help from some volunteers as well to do some cleaning afterwards. If you would like to help, maybe you can dedicate 10 minutes for that help. Hare Krishna. And we need few volunteers on 5th November evening for kitchen help to cook prasad. If anyone is interested, kindly contact us, and then we can prepare some prasad for all the devotees who will be coming for showing the gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. If anyone would like to speak for Srila Prabhupada, some special words or something, maybe some memory or some realization, they are also welcome. They can prepare. They can prepare for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes maximum, and they can speak. Because by your realization, maybe others can also take some benefit and can improve their sadhana. So Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste
सर्वभक्त विघ्न विनाशक लक्ष्मीपति नरसिंह देव भगवान की भक्त शिरोमणि भक्त श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की।
So just last thing, while we will recite Damodarashtakam, we would like to request we can come one by one and offer the lamb because it will take some time if all will come like later because we need to do some prasad. We need to do prasadam as well in there. So maybe first those who are sitting in the front they can do and then sit on the sides and then we have space one by one we can come 2 3 people and then do and then go then others can come. Okay, Hare Krishna. We will be having two sides. Maybe ladies can go on the left and then gents can come on the right. So like that way maybe we can manage properly. We can come slowly. प्रभु आचमन इधर आचमन इस तरफ आप इधर बैठिए इधर बैठ के करना अभी मैं दामोदरष्टकम के बात कर दूँ ठीक इधर बैठ के इधर
ओ श्याम मुरारी Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging and whose beautifully shining divine realm of Gokula is quickly running from the wooden green mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her, who ran after he with a great speed. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodarashtakam, I offer my humble obeisances.
Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again. With his two lotus hands, his eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, whose belly is bound not with truth but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances.
By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokul in the pool of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in the knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is the only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodar, hundreds and hundreds of times.
Hello, can you please keep calm? The prayer is still going on. Thank you. Oh Lord, oh you are able to give kind of liberation to those who are the hope of eternal liberation. Know the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaishnav Bhakta. Know any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. Oh Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours and Vana Gopala in Vrindavana may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use to make of any other boon besides this?
O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair, tangled with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are no use to me.
O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances unto you. O Damodara, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes.
O Lord Damodara, just as the 2 sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Nakulvara, were delivered from the curse of Madhava, and made the great devotees by you in your form as a baby child with no to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give to me your own dream bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of religion.
O Lord Damodar, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bend down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes. Jai.
Shri Bhagavat Prasadam ki
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare